Alright. Hello, SpeedGaming 6. Welcome back to the Castlevania Aria Randomizer Tournament 2022. Today, we have a match between Fuse and spiritboardvalentine. Spiritboard, new to the Rando, but has been learning a lot recently. As for Fuse, well, Fuse made this Rando. So if there's anybody who knows how this works, it's going to be Fuse. Speaking of how it works, the runs are going to be started in just a second now, and we're going to be seeing the settings. Namely, that the shop is randomized right off the bat, with random items and random prices, as well as a soul section. So we're going to see Fuse checking here, buying Milliken's sword for $80,000. Very expensive. As for spiritboard, just heading right in. Timers are going to be a little bit desynced, and I don't know how to fix that. So we'll have to deal. Right off the bat, Persephone for Spiritboard, and I think it's going to be Panther at the top there. In every single seed this tournament is Panther first Spiritboard. Please go back and get Panther. Well, Panther for Fuse. Panther is the dash soul in this game, allowing you to run very fast. And we may see, yep, we're going to see Fuse using it to check the left exit in this map, which is the dead end at top floor. Making that save look very smart, being able to reset right out. Spirit boards on Creaking Skull could be a pretty easy fight with Beam Skeleton and a longsword. But I'd still like to see them go back and get Panther, as without Panther, I'm not sure if they'll be able to progress. Got a Zombie Officer random drop for Fuse. That allows them to hit the jump button after getting hit by an enemy, and it'll negate any knockback that you take, which allows Soma to move very fast, albeit at the cost of a button input. As for the weapon that Fuse has, we just saw it there. It petrifies the enemies when it hits them, which can be a boon against some enemies like the Manticore boss, but it does have the habit of making it take 2 hits to kill any single enemy, at a very minimum. Backdash and Flying Arm for Fuse. I'd like to see Spiritboard go back and get the first check in the game. Without it, he cannot progress. We got 2 souls up here for Fuse. I don't know if he can get the second one on the left. Probably not with Zombie Soldier, so gonna be hoping for either Flight here or another red soul to allow access to that one. There is Malphus. And Spoiled Milk. I like seeing runners grab that, since Spoiled Milk, what it does is reduce Soma to 1 HP. Well, what it actually does is subtract 800 from Soma's current HP, with a limit at 1 HP. Please. He's Spirit Board. Seen Fuse head into Chapel. This is a early game area, right after Corridors in the vanilla game. So, very easy to go through here. Spirit Board finding out that top floor is the left check. Now I need Spirit Board to find out that Panther is in the same room. And then we'll be all good. But like I was saying, Spoiled Milk reduces you to 1 HP. So when combined with the Lubricant Soul, which gives you more stats the lower your HP is, it can allow for some very fast boss fights, albeit at the risk of dying. I do not think Spirit Board has seen that check. The Panther check. It was on screen once, but I don't know if it's been on screen since then. Spirit Board takes a death to skeletons. I would love to see them. I would love to see him find Panther. That's my dearest wish for this. And didn't save at all, so starting back at the start, but might choose to pick up something here. Golem Soul. Fuse using Panther to clip over those edges of just a bit, allowing access to that top check, which normally would require flight. Grapes, good healing. And looks like he's headed up to the warp point. Grabbing a lot of items to sell. Okay, Spirit Board, you saw the soul. I believe. Ooh. Oh? Let's go. Okay. And now Spirit Board has Panther. So about 6 minutes behind. But it's not insurmountable. Fuse, we see Yellow Book. It's flight locked, but conveniently enough, Giant Bat is right next to that. So we'll be seeing our first Drac Soul in just a second. Aranus from Student Witch. We do have Aranus. It was the Yellow Soul up in Corridors. So that is 2 out of 5 for Go Mode on Fuse side. Though he does still need Skula to access the end of Chaotic Realm. Oh. Oh. It's a lot of money. Could buy grapes, I think. They're like 30,000. Choosing to grab the Golem Soul, which is plus 12 strength, so plus 12 damage basically. Very good, especially at early levels. Now we're able to see Drac cross, or Spirit Board, cross the gap here and proceed into upper corridors. That first check, missing Panther, did not set the best precedent, as we're seeing them skip Malphus and backdash and flying armor. So, questionable play. It is a reminder that these randomizers can be very hard to remember, especially for newer runners like Spirit Board. We are seeing a bat-locked Levitain. That could be really good, especially if Fuse decides to head more to the right in corridors, because then he would be set more or less for the entire game, since Levitain is one of the best weapons in the game, and probably the best straight sword in the game. Seeing Skula, it was bat-locked, but with bat close by, easy to grab. Choosing not to head through corridors, so Fuse is not going to see that Levitain. Instead, heading down to lower checks. We are seeing a top floor connection at the end of corridors. That's not the greatest for ease of accessibility, especially not since it goes straight into Underground Cemetery. Cemetery does not have a warp, so you'll be forced to go straight all the way through corridors to get to top floor. Spirit Board takes a death to... there's a word I'm looking for. The Weird Jaguar, I believe. And we're seeing Fuse find Arena and go through Arena, really. With low gear, but probably just looking to get to that warp at the top. Takes a death, though, to gargoyles. They deal a lot of damage. Looks like he saved right before, though, so not too much time loss. Just a couple dozen seconds. Going to Floating Gardens now by doing a trick called Floating Garden Skip. This takes him to Study, with which bat he can access the rest of the area by going through that slide exit. Finds Pitch Black Suit. Pretty good armor. Not amazing, but it's definitely better than the, I want to say, black cloak that Fuse had on before. Taking a save on the left. I think this is because he's going to head down, check the boss fight, and then if it's Legion, he can safely reset out and do the rest of Study. Got a meat strip. That's 29 healing. So, technically better than nothing, but not in practice. Looks like the boss of Study is Balor. Fuse chooses to reset out. Not necessarily a bad choice, but you can do low-level Balor a lot easier than low-level Legion. And I think Millikins would do decent damage against Balor, though it would take a while. Fuse gets hit by the ectoplasm, gets cursed, loses all his MP. You hate to see it. I like to see Spirit Board head up and do these checks in corridors, but it looks like they're skipping them again. Not sure it's the best choice for him. Whew. Sorry, chat. I'm tired. Gym clothes for Fuse. Not better than Pitch Black Suit. That's the takeaway. Spirit Board saving on the right side of corridors. Pretty good choice. Especially if they... Well, they can only do one check in Cemetery. It's really a question of how long it takes them to find Malphus in upper corridors. Since they can't access the save room in Cemetery, so they can only see what the boss is, and then if they make it through Ripper Room, then they can see a single check in there. Headhunter, there are worse bosses to be doing at 75 HP with the Ripper Soul, but definitely not what you want to be doing here. I believe that was a reservoir exit, if I heard the music right. Spirit Board finding... Oh, wow. Fuse takes a random drop poison fist from an imp. I believe that's what that enemy is called. I don't actually have them memorized, I swear. Spirit Board finding out what the boss is, I believe takes a death. Looks to be heading back to retry that. It's possible, but I don't think there's going to be progression behind Headhunter. And Fuse gets a random drop Triton. This is the best strength increasing soul in the game. We saw Fuse by Golem earlier, that's plus 12, but Triton is plus 16. One of the best yellow souls in the game, probably third best. maybe 4th best, depending on how much you like your healing. Now, Spirit Board is dealing 1 damage per hit with the knife. Headhunter has 700 health and is 3 phases long. I don't think that fight is going to be realistic. I really want to see Spirit Board head left in corridors. Without Malphus, being restricted to a low gear, low HP fight Headhunter, I don't think the seed's going to be completable. You really just need to head back and get Malphus, get Flying Armor, get Skula. Do those checks that he missed earlier in the seed. Fuse, on the other hand, just found a Floating Gardens. Very important area, and you need to do it as you need to remember where it is for the Julius Belmont fight at the end. And we are also seeing a new technique, Backwards Gardens. Pioneered by the one, the only Algorithm, I believe. Backwards Gardens takes everything we thought we knew about doing this area fast and says, no, you're wrong, it's 20 seconds slower to do it that way. Black Belt, that is a good accessory, the best attack boosting accessory in the game. So in the face of lacking, say, a Rune Ring, it's probably going to be what Fuse chooses to use. And it looks like Garden exits to a Skula check in corridors. So that's pretty easy to remember for the runner. We shouldn't see any usage of the Garden command. I think Spirit Board doesn't know that there are checks in upper corridors. That's the only reasoning that I can think of to do this fight this many times. So, very unlucky to forget that. Fuse heading back into Arena. Looks like Spirit Board put on the Golem Soul. So now dealing 14 damage per hit. Still not enough in the face of only 200 health going into the fight. Well, it's actually 8 damage on 2100 HP. Because there are 3 phases, and the first phase is the easiest of the 3. Fuse has equipped the Poison Fist random drop, a bit better damage than Milliken's sword, that's what he had. Might swap to the Onikiri, or possibly the Osafune. Both pretty good weapons. Onikiri's multi-hit, Osafune has very good overhead range. We will see. But doing the top check in Arena, oftentimes good. You can also sleep. You can also sleep out of this room, which we just saw. And said check is a duplicate Poison Fist. So, we did see Spirit Board do a quick trick there to get on top of that first platform, but unfortunately, I do not believe it's possible to get up to that save room without, at the very least, Malthus. Yusuke needs to be a bit careful here. I don't believe he saved in the arena save point. So, being this low on health could be a bit scary, though he should be able to get out safely if he doesn't mess up his movement. And a ramen for his troubles. Well, takes the heal, heading back down. We're gonna see worst room. We're not gonna see worst room. Fuse can do worst room. He has giant bat, so he doesn't need slide to go through that check. But I mean, nobody likes doing worst room. It's completely understandable to skip it. And Hippogriff in arena behind DDR. What a meme. Now, Hippogriff is the other form of flight in this game. It is activated by pressing L while in the air, or by holding up and pressing L. This means that it doesn't need to be equipped the same way Giant Bat does, so it's a bit faster and more convenient to use. Took a save, I believe, and now we'll be heading down to do Worst Room and the boss. Understandable, you definitely want to be able to reset out of Worst Room. As we can see, Medusa heads, spikes, and a Demon Lord. Not a fun area. If Spirit Board insists on trying to do this fight, I'd like to see him take a save after grabbing that Basilard. Nice. Just as I said it. Just to save time on future attempts. I'd also like to see him go back and get Malthus. But that one's not gonna happen. An Ancient Belt for Fuse. Decent accessory. Very good defense-wise. But it's not worth it in the face of a Black Belt as the other option. Now, to be fair, this fight would be possible if Spirit Board had Milliken's sword. But with the range of a Basilard, and the damage that it's doing, it's not really doable. Gonna see Fuse heading out of Chapel? I don't remember where this connects, I'll be honest. So I'm not sure where he's headed. Oh, probably to the other side of corridors and the corridors flight checks. Still not gonna see that Levitain at the end of corridors. And this first flight check in corridors connects to Clock Tower. Top right clock tower. Generally, that's an area check that a lot of runners tend to skip, as it's not in the immediate path of getting other item checks at the Warpin Clock Tower. So you'll like to see that as your entrance to Clock Tower, as it provides you two ways out. You're watching a admittedly one-sided race. We got Ancient Book 1, the Red Book, Une dropping from Dead Crusader. We did see Spirit Board get through the first phase of Headhunter. So, I'm not saying it's possible, but it's possible. Now, in case I hadn't explained, which I don't think I did, the goal of this randomizer is to reach the true ending and kill Chaos, the final boss. To get onto the true ending path, the runners will have to defeat Julius Belmont, and to defeat Julius, they have to defeat Graham, the fake final boss, using the 3 Drac Souls. And these 3 souls, in the vanilla game, you're told what they are by a series of 3 ancient books hidden around the castle. In the randomizer, these books have their locations randomized, as well as the souls, which are required. So we saw there that the red book needs Une from Dead Crusader. The first name is the soul, the second name is the enemy that you can farm it from. Got a good pattern for Spirit Board. This first phase of Headhunter can get stuck in the corner if you hit it enough, and it decides to. And this means the first phase is completely safe to kill, assuming a Spirit Board keeps hitting the A button. B button? Yeah, Rena, you are entirely correct on that. Everybody will miss a check once, and then never again. I know, Garny, it's gonna be Reservoir Breakable Wall. Croonin, it's the Reservoir Triton Room. Wow, a lot of them are Reservoir. Interesting. Fuse found Slide. This doesn't really open anything up, not with Bat, but it is easier to use since Bat requires a menu, as well as more useful for boss fights, since Slide will allow easier dodges of Chaos, Julius, and Graham. On my controller, it's a numpad 6. So I don't remember which one. I think it's B to attack and A to jump. Fuse doing lower dance hall, doing the out of the way check. A lot of the time you'll see runners skip this, but it can theoretically punish you if it's something good, which it's oftentimes not. In this case, it's clothes that you start the game with. So not really worth it. But we're now going to be seeing the boss on the bottom. I know we've already seen Belor, but we haven't seen the... Anyways, Fuse is now going to be heading out the upper exit of a dance hall. Using that newfound slide to go fast. Oh, that's an Ascalon. A heavy-hitting overhead swing weapon. It's very good with backdash cancels, dealing damage comparable to that of Levitain, a bit better even, albeit harder to use. Now, this area connected into Eastern Reservoir. A lot of runners have opinions regarding this area, and by opinions, I mean they hate it. But it looks like Fuse does not hate it and chooses to do it. We also saw Algorithm Boat Trick there. Its name changes every time I say it, but basically, if you hold right and R, you can panther in front of the boat, and then it will push you into the wall, clipping you inside and moving you up very slightly faster than if you just stood on it normally. Now let's see if this choice to do Eastern pays off for Fuse. Since I know it can always be a gamble. Do I do this? Will it be any good? And it's a very dangerous area, as we're seeing. Even with Mistletoe, these enemies are weak to Holy, I believe. Maybe? I'm not sure on that, actually. Ooh, a castle map. Silk robe. Not what you want to see from this area. Nothing all that worth the time investment it took to come here. Oh yeah, they're weak to Holy. Mistletoe does not do 80 damage. Looks like Fuse is choosing to skip the 2 checks on the left. This makes sense since he can see one of them, a strawberry, and the second one, he's able to see it from a different area in Reservoir, down by the waterfall, which I suspect is where we're going to see him headed next. Spiritboard looking at the map. We might see him headed back. We're not going to see him head back. Never mind. Please. Head back. We got a blue book for Fuse. That is the 3rd book. Persephone, he does have. So, Fuse is almost in go mode at 32 minutes. Just needs the Une Soul, I believe. And then we'll be able to see him go fight Graham. In top floor, which he has not yet found, actually. What enemy did Une drop from? Because I think a good play here would be to farm that. It would be a better play if Fuse did know where top floor was. That's interesting. Skula is in Clock Tower. So while not necessarily locked behind Skula, it's inconveniently placed behind Skula. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Extreme. It does not appear Spirit Board has memorized the map to know that there's checks up there in corridors. We're gonna see Fuse heading to the next flight check. Probably still not gonna see that Levitain or top floor. And it is inner quarters, choosing to not do it. There's a couple checks there that are pretty easy to access. Surprised he doesn't even give those a look. But he is finally gonna see Levitain. And from here, also top floor. Yes, actually. A lot of the runners in this tournament are pretty new, or veterans returning. There's only a couple of us that are active most of the time. So there could be some new discoveries, or just new runner nerves, and not having everything memorized that could interfere, I guess, with playing as well as runners want. No, I never leave. I play this game weekly. I have like 150 runs of this game. 150 races. It's not the most, but it is the most races, I think. Fuse found top floor, went through. Found, cemetery. And we can now see what these checks are. We can conceivably see what the check behind Headhunter is now. Never mind. Looks like Fuse is headed back to top floor. I do like this play, because if we find Red Soul in top floor, which we totally will, then Fuse will be right there, ready to go, beat the game. Plus he already knows where Gardens is. Durandal, more like it's a worse straight sword than Levitate. A duplicate yellow book? Not what Fuse wants to see here. Open for a red soul, maybe a rush soul. One of those. Yo, let's go! Spirit board found the checks! Backdash. Okay, so Spirit board is about 36 minutes behind. And Fuse is in go mode. But Spirit board will have backdash and double jump. That's not actually for sure. They can know that? Okay, they know they can make that jump. They might die? That's fine. They have Malthus. Okay, Spirit board can play the game. Yo, let's go. Come on, Fuse. You know you want to do it. Picks up Ascalon for this grand fight. Spirit board does take a death, but now he knows where those checks are, where Malthus is. So he should be able to get those back in a couple minutes. Now Fuse has really good backdash canceling. Which makes Ascalon a pretty good choice, though it looks like he has chosen that Levitane's a bit better here. So this is Graham, the Dracula clone of the game. Every game needs a Dracula, and this is Aria's. I realize I say that, but does Dawn have a Dracula? Is Dawn's Dracula, Dimitri? Anyways, pretty easy first phase. Graham will teleport around. You have to hit him in the head, or else you can't deal damage. Swapping to Ascalon for phase 2. Now the second phase is where you need to equip the required 3 souls. There's 1500 HP in this phase. Spirit board takes another death. And you need to equip the final souls before you deal the last hit of that 1500 HP. So runners can either equip them immediately, do a couple hits, or count the damage they're dealing all the way up to, say, like 1450, then swap to the souls and deal the last damage. Counting's a lot more necessary in Basilisk Seeds. I think we've only seen one of those this tournament, where your damage is decreased by the Basilisk Soul. Fuse onto Gram 3, using Poison Fist. Pretty good damage. And Gram 3, it's similar to Dracula from Symphony of the Night, I think. I've never actually played Soten, but from what I've seen of Soten players, I think this is how that fight goes. Looks like Spirit Board grabbed Malphus and Backdash and is now heading back to the start of this area to save. There are, depending on who you ask, yes, there are pretty vampires. Or at least pretty vampire singular. I have not played Soten. I got it set up and tried to play it and then stopped. That was my Soten experience. Alright, so Fuse just took down Graham. There are 2 checks behind Graham's door, so we're going to see Claim and Final Sword. We did not see Claim and Final Sword. Kicker Skeleton and an item which is actually useless. And Spirit Board finds Arena. Taking a lot of damage, gonna die, dead. But since he saved close by, he'll be fine to keep going on. Whispered, I would recommend playing Castlevania. They are good games. Aria of Sorrow is fun, I swear. The Castlevania show is also quite good. I have a couple issues with later seasons, but I think it's a very fun time and would recommend it to anybody looking for something to watch. Now, Fuse is going to be selling a lot of weapons, a lot of useless weapons, considering the other kind of gear he has. And then probably buying the pretty expensive healing. Right here you want to buy 9 grapes, because grapes heal more than pudding, I think. Don't quote me on that. Actually, you can quote me on that after I look it up. I lied. Pudding is 200, grapes are 150. So I think grapes still would have been the better idea. Headed now to Floating Garden, where we'll see Fuse take on Julius. I would like to see Spirit Board not die somewhere and then go right back there to try it again. That's not necessary. But regarding the Castlevania show, I think Season 1 is fine. Season 2 is really quite good. Season 3 is a bit slow for my tastes. And Season 4, while it has some nonsensical plot points, is the favorite of the 4 for me, because of the finale. And that is all I will say on the subject without spoiling. Now we're on to the Julius fight for Fused. This fight should go pretty cleanly. slide, backdash, and a jump canceling weapon that Levitain is. Shouldn't be too much trouble. Now, in this first phase of the Julius fight, every 4 hits that Soma lands with a weapon that is not a soul, Julius will stagger for a little bit of time. After Fuse deals 4,000 damage and moves Julius into Phase 2, these staggers will no longer occur, and Julius will start attacking with sub-weapons as well. Additionally, once the area transition happens, if you notice in the background, we're gonna see the floating gardens or underground or upside down castle. It's not really clear what that is, but it'll start falling down due to the sheer power of Julius when he performs the Grand Cross attack. For those not aware, Julius is the strongest Belmont. He is the one that killed Dracula once and for all, TM. Dracula is definitely dead. And there's nothing that can change that. And he is also a co-worker of Genya Arikado, who you may also know as Alucard, and Yoko Belnades. Julius is also the best character in Aria of Sorrow, because there's a side mode where you can play as Julius, and it's so much better than the main mode. I'm telling you now, go play it. So right here, we're seeing Julius perform the Grand Cross attack. Among other things, it is a gravitational pull. So we're seeing it pull Soma towards Julius, as well as pull the castle apart in the background. That's the cross sub-weapon, that's the holy water sub-weapon, and Julius does not stagger anymore. So, the fight could be harder, or it could be easier, depends who you ask. Fuse is pretty low level, so these final 2 fights could take a bit of time. Since I don't think we're going to be dealing all that much damage to Chaos Core, even with Ascalon. But Julius should go down pretty easily, and Fuse does have a lot of healing left. Now, if Spirit Board sees the yellow book, doesn't know where the other check in this room is, but should get to it in just a second. Please. Thank you. And now Spirit Board has Giant Bat, right as Fuse finishes off Julius. Entering Chaotic below earlier than 50 minutes, pretty good. Now has to deal with this room. Not very fun. Lots of lubricants. Is that Undine? Oh my god. So, Undine is a progression soul, which allows Soma to stand on water. It is needed for 1 check in the game, 1 area check, but bro, why is it in Chaotic? God, this game. Maybe after this seed we can convince Fuse to please, for the love of God, stop putting Undine inside Chaotic. It's not hilarious, it's bad. You know, Kirby fan, you would think that. But I don't know if that's actually the case. And a Rush Soul to combo with Undine, the other thing you need to get through that waterfall, also in Chaotic. I love it. And Excalibur, okay. Sure, Chaotic. Okay, good checks, nice, I love it. Excalibur, for context, is the third best weapon in the game. So Fuse is really happy with these chaotic checks. Rush Soul for good damage against the core and the eyes. Excalibur for amazing damage against everything ever. So this Chaos fight should go pretty quickly. Hopefully. Yeah. What's that, like 150? 148? Yeah. That is plenty of damage. Good backdash cancels to get the attacks off faster. To explain what a backdash cancel is for those not familiar with Aria tech. There's two types of weapons in this game, those that auto-cancel and those that need to be backdash cancelled. Auto-canceling weapons will cancel the animation when Soma lands, while backdash canceling weapons, or heavy weapons, such as Excalibur, they will continue to play the animation even if Soma lands during the attack. But you can cancel that animation using a backdash, and then cancel that backdash using a jump. So backdash canceling is ideally, you attack, you backdash, you jump out of the backdash, you attack. We're also seeing usage of Excalibur to double hit the eyes for 160 damage. This will make the fight go very fast. Chaos has 3000 HP in all body parts, and 120 defense on the core. But attacking and killing these eyes will lower the defense of the core. We see now, with one eye down, Fuse was hitting, I think, 20, now hitting 29. Smile fires, you see, you would think that, but actually I don't use a controller, so I don't know what that means. Actually, maybe I misunderstood your message entirely. Yes. I misunderstood your message. I saw the word roll and just assumed it was talking about controller movement. No, I didn't. I have R on shift. Chaos should be going down pretty quickly, with 3 eyes down, hitting 40 on Excalibur hits. Only 3000 HP on the core. Really good dodges of those spikes. And he should be finishing up right now. GG to Fuse. Good play on that seed. Now, let me see what's going on here. That does sound likely Smilefires. Maybe he has Discord notifications on. No, I'm just checking with the runners to see if they're ready for the second seed. And I think also we're going to be seeing a change in commentators. Because I do not have the evening free, sadly.